And you'll see a bright blue sampling wand that's actually inside of the vent, taking in those vent fluids. And the team, once we get the vehicles back on deck, the team on board will spend some time actually processing those samples to collect microbiological samples, as well as the water samples, and get those all processed. Actually, how long does that process take? I wasn't around last night to see that. Darlene, do you
I went to
have
sleep.
an idea? Yeah, I think.
It took him a while. Yeah,
Okay.
Sarah was up all night.
Oh, wow.
Working. When I woke up around 3:30 this morning, she just kind of came out of the lab van looking pretty zombified.
Wow, okay.
She'd been working through the night processing. Yeah, it's very labor intensive. They have to get it right. You know, these are pretty precious samples.
Right, and they're also doing a lot of the culturing on the ship, correct? In addition to taking some samples back?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, exactly. So some of their sample prep does involve actually those, the culturing activities, as well as like they're spiking some of the eukaryotic samples with dye and then just looking at them, I think as well, using the microscope. Well, they're not going to look at the dye because I don't think that does fluorescence, but you know, they'll actually do a few checks and balances before they even leave the ship to make sure they're getting what they hope to be getting.
Right. Yeah, that's vastly different than most of our cruises in which, or our expeditions in which we bring the samples back. Mm-hmm. Everything gets processed for further study off the ship. So it's interesting to see this different sampling procedure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of our post-dive stuff is for science is preserving, cataloging, and often splitting samples to multiple institutions.
Which gets challenging sometimes when you have one specimen and you have to decide who gets the front, middle, and back.
Is that a sea pen?
Yeah, that's what that looks like.
Stocked crinoid?
Life!
Hard to tell from here.
There's a little more life now.
Squat lobster, rat tail. Ooh, whole gang's here. One from every group.
Staying the same.
Might just be the side based on current.
Yeah. Like more food or something over here. Yeah, we definitely got some more life.
What was the
Brittle
guy's name from Hawaii?
stars.
Chip?
Are we on the side of a face here?
We sure are.
Okay. And how are you able to tell that, Gabby?
I am looking at the ground in Herc and Argus and seeing it slope from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen.
Excellent.
Shadows.
Perfect.
Like Greg says, piloting is a lot of shadows. It's darker on the right side of the screen. It's like I'm not viewing anything in 3D, but I can sort of gauge what's going on just by keeping an eye on the shadows.
Awesome. So if you're watching Nautilus Live at home, you can kind of get a sense of that spatial
I'm
awareness
coming down, but you're starting to catch up to me.
by using both channel 1 and channel 2, so you can see both the Hercules and the Argus feed, or using the quad, so you get Hercules, Argus, and the
change direction a little bit.
bubble cam looking directly down. And you can get a pretty close approximation of the screens that Gabby's actually using to fly Hercules.
Yeah, bubble's useful because sometimes there's a rock that jets out just enough that you're going to catch your porch on it. Or if you're like flying over a bunch of corals backwards, that's tough because you don't want to hit a coral.
I'm getting a lot of telegraphed heave. Is that just because
Well,
we're stretched out vertically because I'm so close to you?
we're not super stretched out vertically. I'm only at 20 meters.
Okay, let's dive down a bit.
You got another 20 meters of slope.
Okay.
Then
20 meters vertically?
Yes. and then a gradual 15 from there. But we could probably spin around after this
Okay.
20.
This isn't actually as bad as I suspected. We've got a really nice pace, and it's not that steep.
Yeah, but if you're going the other way, you'd either be dragging the cow catcher or
Yeah,
no
it'd be
bottom.
terrible.
Hey, coral.
Just don't ask us to sample anything.
Oh,
Challenge accepted.
yeah. Go ahead and ask. I dare you.
I'll get the arm ready.
Okay. I'll ready the countdown.
It's a lot harder when you're going backwards.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of time.
Got a pilot's choice then. Just grab any old rock.
We've got a couple questions coming in from folks watching at home, actually, for our pilots. Curious if there's any sort of true 3D interface that's ever used for ROV navigating.
Not that I'm aware of. We did send down something that looked like a sea mine, but it was called an Omni camera. And that was Alan Adams.
Yep, from the Open Ocean Lab at
I've heard
MIT
tell of
Media
some
Lab.
VR stuff.
Yeah.
I've also heard that VR stuff tends to make pilots pretty seasick. And I can imagine that. It's just, I should say it's disorienting.
I worked with a team that had stereo forward-looking cameras
And
and a 3D monitor. It was interesting. The front porch was in the lower portion of the monitor, and so that didn't 3D, but the rest of the terrain did.
and you say that's interesting.
It was kind of novel and more than useful.
Okay.
But I also wasn't using the arm or flying.
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of views, and that helps us sort of sort out what's going on.
Right. Well, we have the two main views. We have a number of other cameras on the vehicles.
About a dozen, looks like.
Maybe on both vehicles, yeah.
There's 7
5
on
on Argus and 7 on Herc.
7 on Herc, 5 on Argus.
Oh, who's that? Hello, Wayne? Is that you?
That is Wayne.
Have you ever used any sort of interesting VR setups on other ships you've been on?
No.
Nope.
No. There's not a lot of stereoscopic depth-rated
Yep.
gear
Yep.
at the moment. I haven't come across any. They're imagine somewhere someone has it. but-
Yes.
The stuff that we used was all built in-house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can probably turn around now if you want.
Okay.
So you'll have to catch up to me from underneath before you turn.
Oh, before I turn.
Yeah,
Okay.
otherwise you won't have tether.
Another question that came in was about the different types of manipulator tools that have been developed for Hercules, including the soft hand gripper. Have any of you used that, and what was that experience like?
I used the soft hand gripper. I also used a jackhammer.
You
The
used a jackhammer?
Yeah, we have a jackhammer attachment for Mongo.
That's the
No
opposite
kidding.
use.
What?
That's the opposite use case.
The,
Soft hand gripper or jackhammer?
Yeah, you got plenty of tether now. You can do your spin. The jackhammer, in truth, it might work differently on a different vehicle, but we didn't have enough hydraulic flow to maintain pressure with the thrusters and use the jackhammer. So that gave us, you're going to have to turn faster. I'm going to start tugging on you. And so it kind of just bounced us off of rocks instead. The soft hands, I don't know, they were kind of, I could see them being useful in a couple of iterations. But but they closed slowly, so you really had to time them. I ended up picking up a crab with it, but he was able to escape by pushing, you know, on the arms.
So nothing too wiggly then.
Right, and like we've sampled crabs with the predator arm a number of times. Josh has successfully picked up a raw egg with the predator arm.
Interesting. Okay.
So without breaking it.
Wow.
But one of the other pilots does all of her research in creating soft biomimetic suction cups to pick up the same sort of thing without damaging it.
It was a demonstration of Jess's stuff that we picked up an egg first using her technology, and then Josh picked up the egg using the arm just to demonstrate how difficult it was.
That was last year, right?
Yeah.
Jess
Whereas with Jess's technology, you basically just kind of like hit it with a suction cup and like, there you go, you got it.
Right. Instead of really, really, really fine.
Right. And
motor
so,
skills.
you know, like the soft grippers in future iterations will be really good for stuff like that. Is it things that we could probably sample things with
and then a little rise.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Additional
this is going to
damage,
be delightful, this
but
section.
for the most part,
Just
you know,
this'll be
even
like
soft body
15
things
meters.
we
Okay.
But nothing.
know
Yeah,
how,
this is
how to
nice.
sample
Very
either
friendly.
with the suction or with the claw without damaging them.
Yeah, I've heard there
my
are
pleasure.
heard there are a couple of organizations working or researchers working on that kind of soft gripper
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, I can see it being being useful. The other hard part was that it was triggered by somebody at chart table, so like just the communication back and forth was like, okay, close it now, and then they're like, oh, I wasn't ready, and it's like, all right, well now it's gone. Let's try and grab it again.
Right, versus being up in the action.
And then there's a group that's working on 3D scanning deep water. So like, if you can catch the specimen, that they want to be able to scan it and then release it, but have a full scan of it.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
But in situ.
I don't remember. I'd have to do some digging.
Because grabbing something and keeping it in place long enough to take a scan of it sounds like a lot of time.
It was a kind of like a clamshell kind of grab, so it would be inside the clamshell.
Oh, they're taking the scan that way. That's interesting. Was it called clam scan?
It should be. If it's not, I'm disappointed already.
I'm just making some fine adjustments.
191?
Yeah, because I'm starting to try and work my way towards the ship.
Oop, wrong way. Bob's still going, so we're good to go. Think we're gonna make it?
I do.
I think we're going to make it.
Oh, it's saying 16 minutes.
Check out the lights on Hercules in the Argus cam. You don't usually get to see like where the lights are and like how they map out quite so well.
Starboard rail sort of is a little bit better.
Starboard is yeah, it's still really hot, and that camera doesn't look particularly hot on the ground.
siphonophore tail?
Siphonophore tail? Tail trail?
I don't see anything floating near you.
Huh. That was strange. It almost looked kind of like the two worms we were seeing earlier, but much, much longer.
But liney.
Yeah.
Were you
Brazilian
on
good.
the
Huh.
Mediterranean cruise where we had the siphonophores everywhere, and unknowingly we went into a long line because the siphonophores were everywhere? And
Oh, no.
oh yeah, we had siphonophores like all over the vehicle, and we ended up going underneath. Herc went underneath a long line. Argus went over it.
Wow. Oh, Gab's off.
We sucked
SPL.
everything into the thrusters and did a dead vehicle recovery and brought up most of the long line with us.
Ooh.
We managed to freeze 3 or 4 of the thrusters.
Ouch.
Good time.
What?
It was fairly shallow. I mean, it was the med. It's never really that deep there.
Gabby, when you slow down like that, just so we can take notes, are you waiting for Argus to catch up or the ship?
Yeah, some ship stuff.
Just trying to keep pace.
Okay, thank you.
The speed hasn't been super consistent. Just trying to deal with the topography, the bathymetry, and the pace of the ship.
Thanks, Gabby. That's really helpful. We'll take some notes and make sure that gets transmitted. I love listening to the operational banter between the three of you. Like I didn't have a full appreciation for how much you guys have to work together last year, and it's really been remarkable to learn about it.
Yeah. For transects like that, like this, it's super important. Oh, I've been off. Oh, I know why.
It's okay. I've been talking to myself. It's fine.
We've
I'm
sort of
used
been
to it.
listening.
Yeah.
Well-
Sort of.
Well, the other question that came in was, what's the craziest thing you've seen during an expedition? And I think the accidental long line after siphonophores is probably one of the strangest I've heard.
That one was pretty strange. We found a refrigerator in the middle of the med one time.
I don't know. Some of the things we were looking for were pretty strange and
That's
amazing
true.
too. Like the
That's true.
Sinop D, I think, is my absolute favorite.
Was that the one that was like
With the mast
crazy
and all
current and
wood?
the mast and the,
Yeah.
stern had blown up?
Was
Yeah.
that in the Mediterranean too?
That was in the Black Sea,
Black Sea.
where it's anoxic below about 150 meters.
Oh, and the viz was terrible. And there's this mast that
was-
sticks up like what? I don't know.
The viz was only bad if it got stirred up, but that's exactly what we were doing.
was- but it was-
stirring it up.
Yeah, and it was high current too.
It was
And
so it
there
would
was-
blow out.
There was
yeah.
masts and spars and
There was like 13
Wow.
meters of mast, and at the top of the mast was all this rope fiber that was used to like tie the sail on like 1,500 years ago. It
Yeah.
was amazing.
and
Wow.
and we're
All
mapping
the,
it
all
with
the wood
blue
was
view.
intact. It was incredible.
Got this rise coming up.
Okay, thank you.
We're mapping it with the blue
It's
view
not gonna
and,
be-
and
Yeah,
going
it's
back
not-
and
that's
forth
not-
over it. I still have an image
Thank
of
you,
that
Miles.
blue view map. That was one of the best blue
I
view
have
maps.
I have one on my wall
Yeah, that was great.
at home. That was a fantastic one.
Wow.
Yeah,
You
you
could-
could pick
you
out
could
the different parts of the ship, like the galley and stuff like that.
And
It's
the
amazing.
individual timbers and stuff from where it had crashed.
And you could see tool marks on the timbers, couldn't you?
Not in the map, but
No, well,
yeah.
not on the map, but like when you were actually
Yeah.
looking at them, it was
Yeah.
pretty unbelievable.
Wow. And what was the name of the wreck?
Sinop D. It's just north of Turkey.
Okay.
Let's see. We found a depression in the med that had like 7 different types of Coke cans in it.
What about the whale scoops? Those
the whale
are pretty
scoops are always
amazing.
neat.
Whales go down to feed on the bottom by scooping up some sediment, and they leave these like mouth prints on the bottom in these like long trains.
We actually picked some up while mapping in the Clarion-Clipperton fracture zone last year.
Oh yeah.
That was a surprise. Yeah, Lee was working on that.
Yeah, we did a lot of mapping of those in Cyprus,
Yeah.
Eratosthenes.
Yeah, basically you're not gonna like drive around on the bottom of the ocean and not see strange and wonderful things. That's like why we do it.
I would say one of the coolest things I saw was an underwater like brine waterfall, like cascade down a number of different pools in a brine river. That was neat.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That is definitely on the Nautilus Live website. Brine pools in the Gulf of Mexico. Those are stunning.
There's a quote from Summer, I think, in the video about the black wave of death.
Yep.
Because the brine, anything if it's swept up onto the shore, anything living there was just going to get totally brined
Yep.
over.
Well, in the hot tubs of despair.
Yes, hot tub. Hot tub.
Yes. The off-brand hot tub of despair. By the way, Argus was also flashing the bat signal, so we sometimes are also the strangest thing we see in the seafloor.
The bat signal?
The bat signal. Oh, now it's less easy to see, but when
Yeah,
we're over
you
flat
get the bat signal from
sand,
Herc.
yeah. Sorry, yes, Argus Cam. In Argus Cam, you can see the bat signal.
All the lights on the seafloor.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to see when it's flat.
Where were you
Sandy.
like 10 minutes ago?
Oh, there was a cathedral. It was, all right, so snails.
I was trying to talk, but
I know, but I'm still like, I'm like digging
I
through
know.
memories of all like the craziest, coolest
Yeah,
things I've
memories.
seen.
so many ridiculous things.
I'll let you finish and then I'll go.
no, that was it. That was all. But 10 minutes ago, the bat signal was really awesome. The viewers at home can rewind.
Is that a black coral?
Oh.
Oh, can't stop for it now. Too late. Yeah, that's totally it.
Yeah.
Those are amazing pillow lavas.
Um,
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, everything from found a sponge in the Galapagos that was twice the size of
How are we
Hercules.
doing?
You're
Wow.
almost at the top. This,
I mean, how are we doing towards our waypoint?
Oh,
Because it is now 5 o'clock.
this will be the last ship move.
Oh, to get to the waypoint?
Yep.
Oh,
All right,
fantastic.
so then we'll let it swing in and then we'll do recovery.
Yeah, that's
And then I've seen corals that are about twice the height of Hercules. But back to the snails. So when snails lay their
great. Back to the bat signal.
when snails lay their eggs, they oftentimes they kind of make this spiral column,
Towers,
yeah.
if you will.
towers, and we found what just the rock formations were a number of steps down, kind of like an amphitheater, and it was just covered in these snail towers, which kind of look like melted wax candles. So it was a cathedral of snails.
And where was that?
An awesome view in Argus.
I have no
by
idea
the
where
way.
it was.
Oh, wow.
Just gonna drive into the ground while looking at Argus.
Wow. That's gorgeous.
No, Argus is supposed to give you perspective. so you
right,
don't have to-
right. No, I didn't. I saved it. Saved the day. But look at how
I
gorgeous
don't remember
it is.
where that was. I would say Gulf of Mexico.
We've definitely seen whelk
Um,
towers, similar egg towers in Olympic Coast
Yeah.
and off the Pacific Northwest.
We
I managed to sample an intact egg tower with the whelk on top. That was pretty. That was one of my crowning achievements.
This is a whole another genre of stories, which is what's the
Which is-
craziest thing you've sampled. We're not there yet, Greg.
We saw some black coral bushes that the trunk was greater than our lasers.
Yeah.
Bigger than 10 centimeters
Yeah.
last year. Those were massively old.
Sponges that are just ginormous. 6 feet tall. Amazing.
And then just things living places that you would never expect things to live, and like gorgeous things living places you'd never expect things to live.
This is the end of the last ship move.
Yep.
Okay.
We got to settle out anyway, I guess, before we recover, so.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. So we can poke around a little.
So Miles,
We
we
wait for
expect to
that.
make it all the way to Gulf Tango 1?
Yes, ship has arrived, and we
We're
can't
just
we
swinging
can't
it.
actually recover till we swing out, so we have to make it now.
Sweet. Okay, that's awesome.
There's
Got a
only one
deadline.
way. And we are now flashing the bat signal in Argus Camp.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that looks great.
That's the bat signal. Got it. Why didn't you say anything?
She tried. I was talking about snails.
Why is it such a secret?
So here's a great question from viewers who are also watching the Argus Cam. Does Argus fly, quote unquote, flat and level, or is it tilted down toward Herc typically? Or is the
The camera
Cameras,
tilts
yep.
and Argus
The
stays
camera
level.
tilts, but Argus stays level.
How about the sonar?
The sonar actually is a wonderfully ingenious design that's, I believe, a Todd Gregory special. That causes around 20 meters, the sonar actually retracts back into the body of the vehicle for a safe landing. And then if we go below 20 meters, the sonar deploys. And that's the combination of a pneumatic piston and a spring, but one end of the pneumatic piston is open to seawater. And the other side is to a comped volume. So as the sea pressure increases, it moves the piston and deploys the sonar head.
Interesting. After 20 meters?
It's, you know, it's
20
between,
to 50.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's not finely calibrated. You
No.
just sort of use a bicycle pump to get the air pressure right.
As long as it's retracted on deck.
Yep.
Before
Right.
deck.
Right.
Yes, not retracted by the deck.
Do not want it retracted by the deck.
Done that.
I'm sure.
Sometimes in the med, we'd have like 3 dives a day.
Oh God. We do that. What was our record on ONC? Like 5 in a day or something like that?
and
5
the
turnarounds.
Sailor Sea where it was like 50 meters.
Yeah. Oh God, that was exhausting.
It was the last day too.
So we have viewers writing in with their favorite sightings, and some of the favorites are the aircraft carrier USS Independence,
That's right.
the
I was out for that.
shark nursery, so prickly sharks again in the Channel Islands, and climbing seamounts in the Galapagos. So
Nobody mentioned the sperm whale.
Or
Yeah.
the U-boats.
see, there's so many favorites, and all of them are on Nautilus Live. You can check out all the highlight videos.
Nobody mentioned the Dumbo octopus that's like made us famous.
Stubby
The
squid,
vampire squid.
purple
Octopus.
Oh,
orb.
sorry, stubby squid. That's what I meant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The
Well,
one with the
Dumbo
googly
squid
eyes.
too. Yeah,
Dumbo octopus.
yeah. Oh, what did I say?
Stubby squid.
Yep.
I don't know.
We saw one this morning.
Cephalopods.
Gigantic one.
I
The
didn't see any.
the purple orb made it into a TV commercial, didn't it?
Stubby squid.
Stubby squid.
It was
Made
with
it-
Taylor Swift.
It was like an ad for AT&T or something.
Yeah,
For
Taylor
the
Swift was
resin.
looking at her phone, and it was Stubby Squid staring back at her.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Look, look, look.
If Taylor
But,
Swift
it-
wants
but,
to
if
be a
you're, but
sponsor.
if you're listening,
Yeah.
you could be.
Look at this wildlife we're seeing. Hey, wildlife.
Stock crinoid.
There's been a dearth of wildlife.
Oh my gosh, we're so close.
We are so close.
Gulper eel.
I don't
Yeah.
like 10.
Another good one.
This is not my number. 4 is my number. It's herky-jerky, Greg.
I like 15.
I'm not with you on this. This is maybe the one time.
I think a lot of it comes down to like who you learned to pilot from.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely done a bunch of different master positions. And I seem to have more affinity for changing master positions than for changing auto head.
This is just a small little mound of
Yeah, look at this little mound.
stuff.
And it's actually mapped.
Whoa, and now we're just going to go right over the edge.
I
like
have
old
to say
pillows.
I'm thoroughly impressed by this map.
This map is amazing. It's been spot on.
Watch your cow catcher on the way down,
Right. Thank you.
because those pillows are small enough to go up inside the cow catcher.
Okay.
Miss in orbit.
And DVL. We need both of those.
Uh-huh.
All right, you've got plenty of room.
Yeah, I got 5 meters under the bum.
Wow, visibility is really incredible. in Argus view. There's not much going on in Herc view.
Yeah. Going downhill.
Darlene, do we have to cross the wicket on Gulf Tango 1?
What do you mean by the wicket?
Cricket
Like-
reference.
do we actually have to like physically go right there, or we're in the area?
That would be ideal, just so they can check that box. But if it's difficult, like let me know.
Copy.
We'll make it because Argus will swing under the ship and I'll just go over there.
So bearing 255,
Okay.
30 meters.
Thank you.
Some people treat waypoints and these differently. Sometimes it's just get into the area and then we can turn. Or
Yeah, guidelines,
Exactly,
pirate guidelines.
yeah.
What did you say, 255?
255. Now 260.
That'll be nice because I'll get to go uphill. That's
We're
my
getting
favorite.
some user comments that they're having issues with their audio. If you can hear us okay, would it be possible for you to send us a note and just say, it sounds okay?
I don't understand.
Okay. All right.
Now that we opened the door to questions about ROV piloting, is Herc capable of doing a complete barrel roll or flying upside down?
If only. Herc is what's called
We've
passively stable, which means in design, Herc's buoyancy is all at the top and weight is all at the bottom. So if we do nothing, Herc stays upright, and that's so that Herc is a good and stable imaging platform. Herc's whole design is centered around the idea of capturing really pretty video.
Right, and the verts are not controlled separately, so you are either going both up or both down, so you definitely can't barrel roll. I think we could do some kind of backflip though, but we haven't fully tried. But it'd be more of a front flip. It'd break a lot of things, which is why we'll never try.
Oh, can you get 8.5 more meters?
Yeah, absolutely.
$5 meters.
Oh, there's the marker right there. Found it. Oh no, it's right ahead. I found GT1.
Yep.
GT1, here we are.
1 meter.
Hello.
Go!
Nice
All right,
work.
let's set up for recovery.
Roger.
Thank you, guys. And as a reminder, we have to fire the Niskins once we move through 2100.
Roger.
All right, Gabby, I'm going to spin around to line up with the ship, and that should take out our ramp.
That sounds great.
Ship heading is 359er.
Yeah, we can finish the rest of it on the way up. We're just going to get tail to tail. So you can start to push out.
Yep, I'm doing it. Doing it.
So Gabby, you want a 179er?
Okay, on it. Coming around slowly. God, the buoyancy was so good this dive.
You come up at 30 meters a minute.
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
All right, I am out of auto head. You ready to come off bottom?
I'm not ready yet.
What are you trying to do?
Just get stretched out.
Oh, okay.
I'm not stretched out yet. I'm close now.
You're bringing the heading around?
Yep, I'm headed exactly the opposite of you. And there we go. I'm ready to come up.
Okay. Off bottom 513.
Oh, what? Who are these kids?
Okay.
Speaking of kids, apparently a viewer just wrote in and mentioned that a coworker's child demanded to watch the Stubby Squid video before bed every night for weeks on end last year. That is a big fan.
Oh my god, that's so cute. That's like ridiculously cute. Is Stubby Squid, pardon my ignorance, is the one with the big googly eyes?
Big googly eyes, yep.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, it looked like an octopus, looked like a cuttlefish, but in fact it is a squid.
It's 100% cuteness.
100% cuteness. Racia pacifica is the scientific name, and it was spotted off the coast of Southern California during the 12 to 4 shift.
Thanks.
So
Wow.
early morning. And if you watch that sighting or that highlight on Nautilus Live, you too can experience the joy and excitement.
What is it? Are you doing emojis?
So you'll be hearing some new voices come into the van. We're doing a swap out for dinner. So the 48 shift can get dinner. So you may hear people going off comms, going on comms. But keep sending those questions, and we'll make sure to answer them. And thanks for the folks who are reporting an audio problem on the quad channel. We're working on it.
Touche. So
If it's not, I don't know.
we've got a problem.
We've made a major discovery.
Yeah.
What is that
Wow.
light? I see the light.
You've gotten everyone excited.
Your heading is 179,
included.
Trevor.
Roger.
What's the major discovery?
We see Herc.
A non-Argus in the place of Argus. It's not. Never mind.
New
It's a
discoveries every
clone.
day.
Oh, well, you know, squid actually create pseudomorphs of themselves by inking, and they leave behind a pseudomorph of ink that looks like a squid.
No, they don't. Really?
Yes, yeah. So a
What?
predator
What?
will go after that instead of their actual body.
So if one were to ink, how would one ink in the shape of themselves?
Aw, you guys made me ink.
This is a philosophical question.
Roger, philosophical.
Yep. No, Samantha. Yeah.
What have we got here? What is
You
it?
guys
That's
are all
like a
chipper
porch.
after dinner.
What is
front
on the
porch.
porch?
That is twine.
Sissel. Sissel was the term that was used yesterday. Sissel hemp.
Ah.
It's
Sassafras?
Sassafras.
Sassafras
from
hemp?
the agave plant. You can actually
From the
weave it into twine, natural twine.
Why do I do
Wow.
I want to do this
Biodegradable, strong, sturdy.
one.
Our delta depths are getting closer together.
That's great.
Perfect. That is what we want, right?
That's what we want.
Nice.
Between 0 and 10.
Good job.
Thanks. You too. You're doing great.
Hands free.
Look,
Oh, look,
no
mono
hands. Steering Argus.
So while we're starting this ascent back up to the surface, it'll take a couple hours, but we will be back in the water tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. Pacific time,
Are we
for the
aiming-
next.
Are we aiming for 4 a.m.?
We're aiming for 4 a.m.
We're aiming
We're
4
always
a.m.
aiming for 4 a.m.
Yep.
Yep.
So during the subsea expedition, our dives are aiming to start at 4 a.m. Pacific every day, so you can tune in as we start our descent to the seafloor. But again, it takes a couple hours to get down there. So seafloor around 6:30, 7 o'clock every day.
Pacific time.
Pacific time. And in the meantime, feel free to check out our website for more information about this expedition. Click around the expedition tab or about the team tab to meet the team on board and learn more about all the different voices and roles that you hear during these live broadcasts.
We've got a wobbly Niskin bottle.
Look at how wobbly it is. It is
Dancing.
rocking out,
It is dancing,
rocking out.
practicing its moves. Very exciting. Look at all these particles.
Look at them all. There's one.
Particles.
Sarah, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Trevor?
I'm doing okay.
Nice.
Okay? Just
Yeah.
okay.
Not just okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doing okay.
How are you doing, Sam?
Quite well, thanks. We had a pretty exciting dive, wrapping up,
Yeah,
completing a geo transit survey. I was trying to get that combination word together.
You did it.
Portmanteau, I believe, is the
Geotransit?
term for a word for two words stuck together.
Is geotransit?
Wow.
What's the two words for geotransit?
Geo and transit. Geological transit. Geological transit.
Learn something new
geological
every day.
transit. Yeah. Neat. Wow.
Wow, look at that jelly.
Where?
Is that a jelly? An Argus's can?
Ooh, Ben knows.
I didn't see.
Ben, it's right there.
Ben knows everything.
No,
Ben,
I
tell
do
me, Ben.
not. It looks like a jelly.
Look at that jelly. Look at that
This
jelly.
is, in case you are wondering out there, this is the Ben of, is it engorged or is
Oh,
it just
man.
like that?
Hey, ooh, butt cam.
That was the goal for real video.
Oh, I missed it.
It was
It
really
was.
exciting.
Indeed,
Oh, look at-
engorged.
There's one now.
Wait, so that is Herc.
Wait, were you on? You were on my watch.
Yeah,
And I was
all
on that
three of
watch.
us.
Yeah, we had a great
Wow.
watch.
That was beautiful.
Bringing back the team.
Team engorged.
No.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
sure. I think we called ourselves Tina Ford team because we saw
Yeah.
a lot of those guys on the way down.
These could be Tiana-4s, in fact.
I
If you
thought
turn
it
your
was,
attention to the screen.
Cephalus Squad.
You can speed up on the
No,
windshield
we
a
never
little
saw
bit.
a cephalopod.
Alright.
I'm
We
making
weren't
some
sure
serious
anything
headway
to do
here.
with 8
Okay.
o'clock.
What speed are you going, Trevor?
We are currently going at 19 meters per minute.
Wowee.
Argus is
Zowie.
going 16 meters per minute, trying to increase it to 18.
Nice one.
How does that
For
compare
20.
to the descent
That's a little
speeds?
too fast.
A little too fast. Too
How does it
fast.
compare to the descent? It is slower on recovery. Would you like me to explain why?
I would love you to. Thank you.
Let me tell you. So when we're going down, the vertical thrusters are on the top of Hercules, and they push water out the top, pushing Herc down. And that works great. But when we're going up, the vertical thrusters push water into the vehicle a little bit.
Causing drag.
Causing drag. It's like trying to power a sailboat with a fan.
Yeah. Well, are you sure about that?
I mean, if you're standing on the sailboat holding the fan, it's not so great.
It's getting philosophical.
Do you also have samples?
Yes, but we also released some markers, so we're coming up at about the same buoyancy as we went in at.
How do you determine the buoyancy?
Math.
Math, interesting.
That's
So-
it
It
is
is
important.
It is important. So how do you keep track of that? Do you have a logbook? What's
We
the
have a
procedure?
spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Excel.
is important too.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you say excellent?
Excel is excellent.
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 Accelerant.
So Trevor, is this a pre-dive and post-dive check then that you're doing
You
for
bet.
buoyancy?
Yeah. It is that.
Great.
Yeah.
Argus is heading up faster.
Yeah, it's great.
It's good. 17.
It's fine. I'm going to slow down
16.
because I'm going back to the right now, so I'm going to go a little slower, and then I'll speed up later.
All right.
You're at a good speed.
Cool.
When scientists bring out gear that has never been on the vehicle before, we require them to give us the in-air and in-water weights for everything they put on, so that when we put it on there, we can know what our buoyancy is going to be at the bottom of the ocean, and we can adjust our ballast appropriately.
Excellent. And how does the entire vehicle, how does ROV Hercules stay buoyant?
Through the big yellow chunk on the top, that's syntactic foam. It's a bunch of little things, little beads, glass beads that are full of micro tiny bits of air.
Are they glass?
I don't know. I think
They
so.
are. Yep.
It's delicious, right?
Yeah, is that still considered
glass.
glass? They're
Yeah,
a type of
so
ceramic.
Tiny glass beads. Yep.
Yeah, and they are
Glass is
full of
ceramic?
micro air, and they're coated in like a epoxy kind of thing, and they're resistant to sea pressure down to 4,000 meters, and they don't compress that much under the pressure of the ocean. So when we're still, when we're in the ocean, that air pushes the vehicle up with the same force as the weight pushes it down.
So when you're ballasting, do you ballast Herc to be a certain density? Or what's your goal when you're ballasting for specific ocean water?
The density, oh, I see what you're saying, the different density of seawater.
Yeah.
It's not that different at depth.
And do you ballast for surface or for depth?
For depth.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely ballast for depth. And it's quite similar. And it's not enough to notice a big difference. It'd be a big difference. Some vehicles can be, not this one, but some vehicles go in the ocean and on freshwater.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to be real
Cautious.
careful about that, yeah. But seawater to seawater is close enough at depth that it doesn't really matter.
So when you're ballasting, what's your goal? What are you aiming for?
Aiming for, on this vehicle, minus 30 to 50 pounds. About 50, 45 to 50 is like super deluxe. It flies
Pounds
the
relative
best.
to what?
The what are you
Relative
displays?
to the, what are pounds ever relative to? It's a measure of force.
Well, right. Okay.
So it's pulling up,
with 30, 50 pounds?
30 to
Pulling
50
up?
pounds pulling up.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you don't consider the density of the water?
I don't, at that level, sorry, what am I trying to say? Words, tough.
The variation's like an order, 2 orders of magnitude less than
Yeah.
the total measurement. It's like 1,023 to like 130 something.
Yeah, exactly,
You know, so-
exactly. Versus, but yeah, 123 would be the, like really low, and 135 would be high.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas freshwater is 1,000 even, more or less. So that's a bigger difference than you. I don't even know if you'd see that much of a range in saltwater. 123 to 135. You think you would
Yeah,
at depth? I don't know.
123 to 125?
1023 versus 1035.
So just for those of you following us on Nautilus Live, our vehicles are ascending through the water column at the moment, as you can see. This is kind of fun though, because it gives us an opportunity to respond to your guys' questions and comments that come through on the question feed. So keep them going, and we'll try and get through some of them as we answer them. How you doing, Cassidy?
I'm doing great, John.
How's Argus behaving?
It is behaving very well. Yeah, ballast questions are awesome. So where are you? So you said you're ballasting for 30 pounds of force going up on Herc. You want it to be positively buoyant relative to the water that's flying in. Where are you getting this 30 pounds?
Where am I getting it?
Yeah, like what are you measuring to get 30 pounds out of the entire weight of the vehicle?
So if we have it trimmed in such a way that it is totally neutral, then you know it's totally neutral. That's your 0 point, right?
Right.
So we know that's 0. And we know that
so how do you do that? You know that the syntactic foam is going to cause it to be positively buoyant, and then you know that the weight of like the sensors and stuff are going to be negatively buoyant.
Right.
And so that syntactic foam is positively buoyant always, and you have that number.
Yep.
And then you're asking the science guys to get your
in-water weights. Yep.
To get the in-water force down.
Right.
Right.
So if you add all that up together, and through testing, we've figured it all out what is actually accurate and what is not. Let's say we trimmed it so it was perfectly 0. Sitting there, we'd see no movement up or down with 0 vertical thrust. I'm passing you. You can speed up a little bit.
Got it.
What was I saying? Yeah, so that would be 0. That's our 0 point. So from there, we want to be positive, which means we need to take lead off, our little lead weights. So we get the 30 to 50 number by weighing the lead in water and knowing how much each of those little lead weights weigh, and we take off a certain number that, say, 5 of the 5-pound weights. That's 25 pounds positive buoyancy.
Is there ever a point where you need to add more syntactic foam?
Theoretically, yes. We've never had to do that, but we have a method of how to do it.
How do you
sorry,
do it?
I'm rephrasing that. I've never had to do it, but there is a method for it. We have some
What's the method?
low depth rating foam cheeks, we call them. They bolt on the side. And they're only rated to 2,500 meters, I want to say. I can't really remember.
2,500?
And if we want to go deeper, we have to get deeper rated syntactic foam. There's a way to attach it onto the top. A little less deluxe, but it's functional, and we can do it if we need to.
So my upward speed is 23 meters per minute. Is that okay?
Yeah, if you can get to 20 would be perfect.
Okay, well, you're still pretty far ahead of me, though.
I know, but I'll slow down right now.
All right, I'm going to try for 20. John, do we have any questions coming in?
We do. We always have questions coming in, Cassidy. And I was going to fire this one to you and Trevor.
All right.
Basically, I mean, everybody's used to Argus looking at Hercules, but the question was, does Herc ever do an inspection of Argus underwater? Do you ever get an Argus view in the Herc cam?
Oh, well, it's definitely possible. I think that would only be required if there's something drastically wrong with Argus. I'm new, so I've never seen it. Trevor, have you seen?
Yeah, I sure have.
Go ahead.
It was really exciting. We set it up in just a way that we could do it, but it's not standard operating procedure.
But so what were the circumstances under which you did it? Can you talk about those?
One of the ones was low light camera, actually. We were using the lights from Argus to light up in front of Hercules.
Right.
And you could see the lights from Hercules if it was set right in front of it. So it was a super high, I want to say super high ISO camera. Don't quote me on that, though. And that allowed us to see with like almost no light. So all of Hercules' lights off.
Right.
Just the lights from Argus to be able to see. We were looking for bioluminescence.
Okay.
Wow.
Using low light cameras for that, or
using
something?
low light camera,
oh,
exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So as we continue to ascend here through the water column, keep your questions coming in at Nautilus Live and .org. And we have a lot more free time on these ascents and descents to actually engage you guys in conversation, so feel free to keep them coming.
Ask the questions away.
So Cassidy, have you been grilled on your journey to the ship? How did you get on board the Nautilus?
So I'm an ROV intern, and this is my first expedition with Nautilus and the Ocean Exploration Trust. And as of right now, I've been learning a lot. I've been learning about how the ROVs operate, and I'm even able to pilot Argus, which is really amazing because it's not some type of, you don't get the opportunity very often.
Yeah.
And so if there's any other students that are interested in this kind of work, then they can look up the internship
That's right.
that Nautilus offers for
yes,
students.
so they just need to go to oet.org and click on the education tab.
Right.
And they'll see, I guess, the information you saw. So, but what's your background? What's your undergraduate degree in?
So my undergraduate degree is in mechanical engineering from Rutgers University in New Jersey.
Right.
And I actually just graduated last Friday or something.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, you didn't know that?
Yeah.
I graduated and then I came out here.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so I have some previous work experience with AUVs, which stands for Autonomous Underwater Vehicles, which are a little different than these robots, because these robots are tethered, remotely operated vehicles, and then the AUVs are autonomous underwater vehicles where they don't have a tether.
Yeah.
And so Rutgers, they deploy and operate a lot of AUVs called Slocum gliders. And, with that experience, I was able to, use that experience hand in hand with what I'm learning here to better, equip me with knowledge for jumping into some type of work like this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I graduated last Friday. Yeah.
And what's next?
So next, after I get back from this internship, I'm going to go to Maryland, and I have a job with NAVSEA, Carteract Division, which is an organization under the Navy.
Right.
And I'll be working with their, their equipment and stuff.
Cool.
So I'm really excited about that.
Oh,
My
yeah.
start date is in late June. So I've got an apartment in Maryland already.
Oh, so you're going to get all of 2 weeks off before you start your new life?
Well, actually 1 week, because after this, I'm going to be doing some traveling around California.
Okay.
So hopefully visit some of the national parks and stuff. And then after that, I'm going to have a week off, and then my job starts.
Right.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you, Wayne.
Well, here's an interesting one for you, Wayne. Okay, we got a really neat question here. Do we need the lights to descend or ascend? Would we see bioluminescence if the lights were turned off with this camera?
We leave the lights on basically to make sure we can see Hercules from Argus.
Yeah.
Typically, right now we know where the vehicles are. We know there's nothing in the water column. We know the vehicles are safe.
Yeah.
But if we wanted to inspect the tether cable that connects the two vehicles, we could orient Argus in such a way that we could look at Hercules. We wouldn't see it if the lights were off.
Yeah.
So it's more like, why do they have lights on airplanes, when they're flying in the sky? It's not so they can see things, it's so they can be seen.
Right.
So that's the main reason why we leave the lights on both vehicles.
Oh, there's a lovely, I forget the name of them.
That's a Physonex siphonophore.
Yes, siphonophore,
yeah.
It's huge. I actually, one of the little zooids just popped off the end. I don't know why. They're colonial species, so each of those has a little swimming bell, and that big pinkish thing was the foraging tentacles. Yeah.
As far as bioluminescence, I don't believe there is sufficient bioluminescence that would be strong enough to be visible with our cameras with the lights off.
Okay.
So